Well, the Prime Minister, talking about the Prime Minister, he will be on a two-day visit to Nepal this week. He is likely to announce 3 separate, what are being called surprise gifts for Kathmandu, Janakpur and Muktinath temples during his state visit. He'll also visit temples, and the focus will be to bond with the people of Nepal. As close neighbors, India and Nepal share a unique relationship of friendship and cooperation, which is characterized by virtually open borders and deep-rooted people-to-people contact. Here's a report from WION's Siddhant Sibal, who is in Kathmandu.
Nepal is all set to welcome the Indian Prime Minister, who will be on the two-day visit to the country from 11th to 12th of May. He will be visiting 3 cities, Janakpur, Kathmandu and Muktinath. He will be jointly inaugurating the Arun 3 project along with the Nepal's Prime Minister. The Arun 3 project is the biggest infrastructure and hydroelectric power project in Nepal.
The Indian Prime Minister will depart from Patna on an Indian Air Force helicopter and land at Janakpur's Baharbika. He will address a public rally in Janakpur, which is said to be linked to Indian tourism's Ramayan circuit. Modi will arrive in Kathmandu after completing his official engagements in Janakpur. Prime Minister Modi will be accorded a ceremonial welcome at Tundikhel in Kathmandu before he meets with Prime Minister KP Oli for delegation-level talks. Prime Ministers Oli and Modi will lay the foundation of Arun 3 hydroelectricity project through video conferencing. In Mustang, the Indian Prime Minister will visit Muktinath, which is a sacred place for both Hindus and Buddhists. Within Hinduism, it is called Mukti Kshetra, which literally means the place of liberation or moksha. This temple is considered to be the 106th among the available 108 Divya Desams considered sacred by the Sri Vaishnava sect.
The Prime Minister of India is leveraging diplomacy with faith. He, along with the Prime Minister of Nepal, will be jointly inaugurating a bus service from Janakpur, which is the birthplace of Goddess Sita, towards Ayodhya. And Janakpur will be part of the Ramayana circuit. Of course, the Prime Minister of Nepal will be receiving the Indian Prime Minister at the Janki temple in Janakpur, while the Defence Minister will be receiving the Indian Prime Minister when he arrives here in Nepal.
Oli's visit was seen as an attempt to repair Nepal's ties with India. In 2016, Oli had publicly criticized India for allegedly interfering in Nepal's internal matters and accused it of toppling his government. India is Nepal's largest trading partner and the largest source of foreign investments, besides providing transit for almost the entire third country trade of Nepal. India accounts for over 2/3 of Nepal's merchandise trade, about 1/3 of trade and services, 46% of foreign direct investments, almost 100% of petroleum supplies, and a significant share of inward remittance on account of pensioners and workers.
Well, India-Nepal ties have been a roti-beti ka rishta. The relationship has been a special one, and the Indian Prime Minister would like to make it more special with this visit. This is the 3rd visit of the Indian Prime Minister. He first came to Nepal on a bilateral visit, then he went to SAARC for another visit, and he came here in Nepal, and finally this visit is happening. Big focus will be on how the Indian Prime Minister tries to build new bonds between New Delhi and Kathmandu. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Siddhant Sibal from Kathmandu.
Siddhant now joining us live from Kathmandu. Siddhant, China is known as the dragon, but here it's virtually the elephant in the room. You've also sent us pictures showing how much of influence there is in one of the business centers in Kathmandu. There's been a recent proposal for a China-Nepal-India corridor, which India has not responded to. How will the Prime Minister be really dealing with all those issues when he meets the top Nepali leadership?
Well, China is the elephant when it comes to India-Nepal ties, and when you walk around this city where I am in Kathmandu, I was at a place, it's called the business area of the Kathmandu, Thamel place, where you can see all the signboards either in English or Chinese. That is the influence of China here in this country. We had a talk with several people there who of course told us how Chinese businessmen are coming here and having their shops, hotels. And when you're leaving Nepal, if you're going to China, you can get even SIM cards from that place so that you can talk in China. But we had a talk with experts also, and they also suggested us that this is primarily because China is not only increasing its influence in Nepal, but across South Asia, because it has the money power and it has, of course, deep pockets. That's the difference which they try to indicate us when we had a conversation on why China is increasing its influence. But other than that, the focus is connectivity, and now both India and China are trying to quote Nepal so that they increase connectivity with this country. This country is now being connected not only with China through various connectivity plans, but India also. When the Indian Prime Minister visits here, he will be announcing a plan that is connecting Kathmandu to Raxaul. Indians will be building that railway so that the Kathmandu valley, where I am standing right now, is connected to the Indian railway system. Now you can travel from Delhi to Kathmandu, but the question is that will India able to deliver? Because the experts also told us that there's a difference between what India says and what India does. But for China, that's very different, because what China promises, it also performs. That is why China is getting more and more popular here in Nepal. So clearly China remains a worry, an issue of anxiety for New Delhi. But with Indian Prime Minister coming, he basically reciprocating the Nepali Prime Minister's visit to New Delhi last month. This can change in a sense. This is a confidence building measure. It has a symbolism, and symbolism of course has its own meaning. That of course is to strengthen India-Nepal ties.